Hello everybody, I'm Erika Flint and I'm here at Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc., where we talk about hypnosis, etc. And today I'm here to talk about balance and balance in your hypnosis practice. And I'm really excited because I've got with me today Brenda Titus, and you might be wondering, where's Cal? Well, this is the third episode that Brenda and I have done together because Cal suggested that we work together, and we both thought, hey, what a great idea. So I've got Brenda here with me today. So let me tell you a little bit about Brenda. Brenda is passionate about helping people transform their lives through the power of hypnosis. She has 15 years of experience counseling and advocating for victims of sexual assault, and now she brings the potent life-changing techniques of 5-path and 7-path self-hypnosis to help all people transform their lives and achieve health, wellness, and success. She's a full-time hypnotist. She's experienced the power of hypnosis for herself, and she's a true believer, and she's a good friend of mine. Brenda, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, Erika. I'm thrilled to be here working with you. This has been a fun experience in preparing and then filming today with you. So let me tell you all a little bit about my friend Erika Flint. So Erika Flint is a certified consulting hypnotist in Bellingham, Washington with Cascade Hypnosis. Her background is in computer programming and professional problem solving. And she worked in that field in the Silicon Valley for the last decade or so, and she realized it was time for a change. She really wanted to work with the greatest computing device that is available, which is the human mind, and it really is an amazing thing to be working with our clients. So now Erika has gone full-time practice in Bellingham, Washington. She sees clients, she teaches self-hypnosis classes, she teaches stress management classes. She loves helping people really live the best lives that they can live. And so Erika and I met last year at the convention. We really hit it off and we've stayed in contact. And then now here she is as one of the co-hosts of the podcast. And here we are together today bringing you some great information about a topic that I believe is very important for all of us. And I'm thrilled to hear what she has to share today.
Thank you, Brenda. This is such a great topic, and it's a very timely topic for me because, there are just so many things to do as a hypnotist. I mean, you are seeing clients, and a lot of people on top of seeing clients, you have all your administrative tasks, right? You're taking care of the business side of things, and you're also answering the phone, you're paying your bills, you're paying your rent, you're answering emails. And then perhaps you're writing blog articles or doing podcasts like this. And so there's a lot of things to do. And it's really important to keep in mind that you need to find balance in your own practice so that you're giving your clients your best, right? So that every single client that comes in the door is getting the best of you, that you're not tired of the second half of your day, that your afternoon clients are getting the best of you just like your morning clients are, and that you are there and you know how to recharge and you know how to help yourself really with self-hypnosis or some other techniques that you should already know about yourself right now. And if you don't, you're going to want to take some time to figure out, how do you recharge? How do you find the balance in your practice? And this podcast is going to help you figure that out. What do you think about that, Brenda?
Excellent. And there's a reason that I am so passionate about this, and it is because I used to work a 24/7 job. I was constantly available, and so it was very important for me to have that balance for myself, being the supervisor of 10 young women who were passionate about what they were doing and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I've definitely learned a lot over the years, and I've brought that into my practice as well. And in the end, part of what I really believe is that when we as the hypnotists have good balance, we're feeling good, we're healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. When we're not stressed out, that shows with our clients. And then we are able to then help them be better in their lives at really having that balance as well, because that maybe they're coming to us for smoking or weight loss or what have you, but when they can learn these great tools from us, their lives will be better for it. And it's just kind of a side effect of even coming to see us.
That's exactly right, Brenda. And so modeling that behavior for your clients is so important. And so let me start with scheduling, because you really want to set yourself up for success. So now we all know that there's going to be, You're going to be wanting to see clients throughout your day, and you want to set up a schedule and you want to stick to it. Okay, so for me, I have certain specific times during my day when I want to see my clients, and then I schedule a break in there, certainly a break for lunch where I have time to eat and recharge and do everything else that I need to do, perhaps even write back an email or return a phone call. And recharging is so important. So I give myself that time to recharge between each session. And for me, I even have a little ritual where I go through and just kind of make sure that I'm getting myself in that place where I'm really there for my client. A couple of things that work really well for me: I do self-hypnosis daily, I listen to music. Those two things right there are so important, and they work really well for me. If you don't have a way to recharge yourself, you need to make sure you do that. Figure out how to do that. But it starts with scheduling. It starts with a plan. So set a schedule and stick with it. What do you think about that, Brenda?
Exactly. It is so important to have that time built into your day, both so that you can make sure that you've finished, your paperwork and resetting your room for your next client, but also for yourself. What happens is our sessions are very intense. I know for me physically they can be pretty intense because I tend to have leaning in, attending behavior. So I'm very focused on that client, and then just kind of physically and emotionally, I need to kind of pull the plug after our session. So I'll do a few things to literally just ground my emotional energy, my physical energy, and just kind of literally separate myself from them so that I can move on to the next person. And I also really believe that having a lunch break, taking time to eat healthy food to properly fuel your bodies, to be drinking water, to properly, keep your body, filled with water. Those are so important. They're important for your own physical health and emotional health so that you're staying strong. Again, you're setting a good example for your clients as well. Because when we are when our physical energy and our emotional energy is strong, then we're able to give everything that we need to be able to give for that client. And they see that. They know that we're taking care of ourselves.
Yep. That's so true, Brenda. We want to make sure that we are physically, emotionally, mentally 100% there for every single client when they come in, because that's what we're there for. And we're there, you want to be able to pick up on those little cues, right? You want to be able to understand and see what's happening. You want to be 100% there at all times. And so another thing that I wanted to bring up is that, because this is something that I've been experiencing. So when I first started doing hypnosis, I was seeing clients in the evening and weekends because that was the only time I had available. I have had a day job, right? And so as I transitioned into full time during the hours of 9 to 5, that's my preference, right? I want to be working 9 to 5. I want to go home with my family in the evenings and on weekends. But if you want to offer evening and weekend sessions, you can do that. And I still do that some days during the week and on some Saturdays. But here's the best way to go about that. You need to think about your own time, right? So that's really a premium time for you when you would rather be with your family perhaps, or at home doing other things. And so one way to do this is to offer those appointments in the evening and on weekends, which is more convenient for your client, okay? But charge a premium rate for that. So maybe charge an extra $20 or $30 for those. And so what you're doing is you are, by the way of economics, right, you are encouraging your clients to go to your sessions during your regular business hours, but you are also offering them an opportunity, which out of convenience for them, right, to be able to come in these hours that are more convenient for them. And so what I do is so for example, I do Saturday sessions, but I don't do every single Saturday. I look at my calendar probably 2 months in advance, and I block off some Saturdays that I'm absolutely not going to work, perhaps even take a Monday off or a Friday off to give myself a 3-day weekend and just recharge. Because again, that's what this is about. This is about balance so that you come in 100% at all times, as much as possible. It's about learning more about yourself too. So taking the time to understand how you're recharging, and this is one way to do it. So this is balancing out your client's, what your client, the convenient for your client, right, with what's best for you. So what do you think about that, Brenda?
I am so, here's the thing, as Erika was working full time and seeing a full load of clients, and she and I were talking, and I thought, oh my gosh, how are you going to keep this up? I'm concerned, you know. And actually one day Maureen and I were talking, and she was telling me about this premium pricing, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. And I think that it was something that Erika and I really wanted to talk about here as just kind of an additional way to be thinking about that, because your time is valuable, you know, and the time that you are taking away from your family, maybe from your own, you know, personal endeavors that you want to do, from, you know, if you work late, are you getting to exercise or eat as well as you might that day? So that should cost, you know. And so I like to think about that as a way of, you know, of offsetting how I do things. You know, here I have an office here at the Banyan Hypnosis Center, and so I rent my office 3 days a week. I still consider myself a full-time hypnotist because that's my job. That's all I do. This is my full-time job. But on one of the middle days, that's my administrative day. And so there are certain tasks that I do. So, you know, I'm dealing with phone calls during that day. I'm doing emails. That's when I write. That's when I do podcast prep, all of those things. And then my other weekday I do household family things, so that then I can kind of have that balance, so that then when my family's off for the weekend, then we can actually enjoy our lives. And so that way, that's kind of how I kind of schedule things, so that I know, you know. But I also do, you know, presentations, I do different networking things, I do home hypnosis sessions and things like that. And so I have to think about, okay, if they want me on a Saturday night, you know, that may have a premium cost as well, versus a Thursday night that's not taking me away from, you know, family event or friends and what have you. So I really like what you've been doing with that approach, really balancing out your schedule so that you're getting that time off for yourself too. I think that's really important, Erika.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because I definitely want to be fully charged, fully recharged. I love hypnosis. I love what I do, and I want to be there 100% the whole time. I don't want anything to get in the way, right? So I know I've taken the time to do some self-hypnosis, listen to my music. I know how to recharge. And so I make sure it is critical. You got to take control of your own sessions and your own practice. And this is one of the things that it's up to you to make sure that you are getting recharged, right? Nobody else is going to do that for you. Nobody else is going to say, hey, why don't you go relax and listen to some music? It's got to be you, right? I mean, maybe a loved one would say that, somebody who loves and cares about you, but you got to do that for yourself, know how to do it, know how it works well, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And the premium pricing is definitely one way, because again, you know, you're making sure that your client has the opportunity, but you're encouraging them to do it during regular business hours. So those options are good for your clients. Now, Brenda, one thing that I wanted to ask you about specifically, so one of the challenges that I faced as, you know, working full-time is seeing clients all day long. So when do I answer the phone, right? Because most of my clients, although I do get some clients who connect with me via email and social networking, that type of a thing, or connect with me when I give a talk. Okay, I give a lot of talks around town, but most of the times when I'm scheduling sessions with clients, it's because they've talked to me on the phone. And so I'm wondering, okay, so if I'm in sessions with clients 80% of the day, when am I going to be able to answer the phone and call clients back? So Brenda, how do you deal with that?
This is one of those ones that definitely can give me a little anxiety. Here at the office, I do get some referrals at the center, and so Jesse will take the initial phone call and take messages for me, and sometimes Maureen will field calls, but I have my own business too. I have my own website, and so for people who call me directly, my voicemail says that, you know, my job is that I'm in session most of the day. And I learned this actually from therapists that I used to work with in my old field. So that was, you know, I already knew that was kind of the drill. So that's how I started things. So my voicemail says, please note, I'm usually in session for most of the day. I'll call you when I'm available to speak. And a lot of times, you know, if I have an opening during the day that gives me enough time to give them my attention, like let's say I have an opening, you know, or a big enough gap, then I'll make the phone call then. Sometimes that does require that I need to do phone calls at the end of my business day, towards the evening. However, the reality is that my work days can be very long, because I'm only here 3 days. I power through, and if it's getting late and I know that dinner's on the table waiting for me when I get home, or my brain is just shot and I'm exhausted and I can't speak professionally enough to really help the client know that I'm the right person for them, then sometimes I may wait until the next business day until I'm able to make that call and really give them everything that I'm able to give them. But I also make that very clear on my outgoing message so that people understand that I'm there for them, and that once we do end up seeing each other, it'll be the same for them. I wouldn't answer a phone call during somebody else's session. I'm giving my clients everything that I have while we are together. So what do you think about that?
I think that's great advice, Brenda, because clients should understand that you are, if you're in sessions, you're busy. Hey, people want to have sessions with you, right? Another few things is that, I've played phone tag with clients before. And so sometimes what I end up doing, there's two things that I end up doing. One is sometimes I will leave them voicemail saying, it sounds like, we're playing phone tag. We're having a hard time connecting with each other on the phone. Why don't you email me and we can communicate? So I give them my email address, and that has worked out for some people. Okay, it doesn't always. There are some people who are more comfortable on the phone, and some people who are fine via email. Certainly, email is the asynchronous type of communicating. Right, you can just get back to each other when you have time. And the other thing is, I also have a time period during my day for 30 minutes where my intention is to call somebody back and have a phone conversation with them, kind of a free 30-minute consultation where I'm actually setting aside a time to talk with a particular client in more depth, answer their questions, tell them how the process works. And so I can schedule those ahead of time. And, at most they're 30 minutes. Sometimes, usually they're about 15 minutes. But if you're having a hard time connect with somebody, I've found that, and I schedule them at the same time every day, like 11:30 or 12. So I always have that kind of slot available on my calendar to make sure that if there's somebody that I'm having a hard time communicating with or catching on the phone, then I will say, hey, why don't we meet tomorrow? I will call you at this very specific time for 15 minutes, and we will get that on the calendar. And that has worked sometimes for people who are kind of in the same situation, right? Perhaps they're difficult to catch on the phone as well. So thank you for your advice on that, Brenda. I think that's great. So the other thing that I want to mention is that once you get your client into your office, that it's really important, no matter how many things you've got going on in your head, once they're there, you are completely and totally focused on your client. And we touched on this briefly. I have like a little mental kind of ritual I go through to make sure that I'm prepared 100% for my client. I put my computer away, I put my phone away, I put all of these things out of the way. As a matter of fact, my phone doesn't even ring in my office. Of course, I have it there in case a client is running late or something along that. My computer I use for scheduling. So that stuff is there, but I don't pay attention to it. Once my client walks in the door, it's 100% paying attention to the client. And this goes back to, Brenda, what you were talking about earlier, modeling good behavior for our clients. So they walk in the door, my attention is 100% on them. So what do you think about that, Brenda?
Exactly. I think that's so important. I do have a office phone as well in my office, and it's set up so that it doesn't ring. So if a phone call comes through at the Banyan Center, it doesn't ring in my office, so that I don't even have to think about it. That's just how it is set up. And the same with my phone. It's on silent, not on vibrate, silent. And I'll usually have it completely put away so that clients know when they're there with me, they have my complete attention. Same even with the desk. I'll keep everything very clean and clear, no distractions, so that we're very much setting up that one-on-one, face-to-face communication. And I really like what you said as well, Erika, about scheduling time for consultations. I know sometimes I will schedule my day and it's so tight that I'll just say, well, I don't have time to talk to people. But the reality is, if you don't have time to talk to people, then at some point you're not going to have people to see. So it's something that I'm definitely working with and learning as I balance my days, because I do tend to put more on my plate than is humanly possible in one day. So I'm learning balance. I try so hard to model it all of the time, but I also have to learn it for myself, which is exactly why I'm very pleased that we are talking about this today.
That's right, Brenda, because really, balance is it's going to be different for every person, and you're going to have to figure it out for yourself, right? I mean, when you think about balance, you're really thinking, the picture that comes to mind for me is really a scale that's balanced. And so you're trying to figure out as you go along what you can do and what doesn't make sense. And so you're just kind of, you're putting yourself out there, and then you're adjusting. You're putting yourself out and adjusting. You're like, that was definitely too much, right? Like, so for example, you scheduled yourself 5-6 sessions one day, and you're like, oh, I could do that. At the end of your day, you're like, oh boy, that was tiring. No, I'm not going to do that again. So you pull back, right? So you make plans and you adjust and you move forward, right? And you just keep doing that until you find a really happy, balanced place. But the challenge is that our profession is constantly changing. New things are constantly going on. So there's no way that you're going to ever have like a set schedule or a set something or other, because there's going to be new things and you're always going to want to grow. So like you mentioned, Brenda, you've got to invest in your future clients by talking with them now. Otherwise, you're going to wake up one morning, you're not going to have any new clients because you were just seeing all the old ones and you didn't take any time to call them back or communicate with people. So yeah, very important to find that balance. And guess what? We got to keep talking about this next week, because there's more interesting topics to explore when we're talking about balance. We're talking about efficiency next week and boundaries, talking about perhaps a system that you might want to set up and some other really interesting things. So I hope you guys can join us, because we're just about out of time. Join us next week where Brenda and I continue this topic on balance. Anything else that you want to say, Brenda?
I'm just thrilled that we're having this discussion. I know I've talked to quite a few hypnotists, and these are challenges that we all face because we have a lot to do. We wear a lot of hats. We are the marketer, we are the networker, we are the salesperson, and then the most important part of our job, we're the direct service provider. So, and we're human. Oh, by the way, that's the other most important part about us too, is we are human. And so we need to be able to be talking about these important skills so that we can continue being able to do this type of job for as long as we can. I mean, look at the greats in our profession. They've been doing it for years. I want to be able to do that too. So thank you all for joining us today, and definitely please be sure to leave us your comments on calbanyan.com. We love to hear your feedback, so have a great week.
Yes, thank you very much, Brenda. Great to see everyone. See you next week where we continue this topic on balance for the hypnosis professional. Thank you.
This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and the Banyan Hypnosis Center for Training and Services, Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without permission. For contact information, go to www.hypnosiscenter.com.